Lou, let's just see in your bio. Just your bio should be I'm from the 80s.
Yeah.
80s kid.
From the 80s.
We need an 80s guy. It's between Zach and Lil. He's got the look. Hello.
Hi, guys.
Looks like Lou was sideways for a second. There he is.
Rough morning. What's up?
How are you doing? Can you hear me okay, guys?
How you doing?
Yeah. Zach, it took me a little while to, I had to double take for a minute there with that long hair all of a sudden.
I feel like I'm in the 80s right now, and I'm missing my guitar, but it's all good. It's in the other room.
You're making me want to go back to the 80s.
Oh, man, I wish I could have been there with you, man.
Tarzan lives, man.
Yeah, I'm getting ready for the remake. You know, they're going like really white and like 20 years younger.
Nice. All right.
We'll come to the Tarzan remake a bit later on. So first of all, congratulations on Dreamcatcher. It must be quite a dream that you can finally talk about it after, I think it was like 2 years ago you shot it now, and it's been pushed back 4 times. So you can finally talk about it. No, it must be a relief, no?
Yeah, I think when you do a film, the release date varies. You know, I'm sure when you do a James Cameron film, it's like, okay, see you guys in 6 years or something. But all I know is I'm glad it's out. It's going to be released and people are going to see it. How do you feel, Lou?
I'm excited. I mean, I interview with a news outlet saying like, what did you expect? How did you feel? And if you could go back to any project. And I remember I had so much, before any job, I have so much excitement that kind of can spill into anxiety. Because I didn't know what to expect. I mean, these kind of movies are hit or miss, but from the minute working on set, the minute I got there, everyone was so great, so cool. Locations were great. And from the rushes that I saw, I'm super excited to see what happens. I mean, it's a really, really cool mix of the EDM with the thriller, with the blood, the character, the killer is the mask. It all kind of fits. So I'm thrilled for it to come out on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right when you said these kind of horror movies, this kind of slasher genre can be hit or miss. But I mean, you couldn't have wished for a better team. I mean, this is the director's first feature film, but I mean, he's cut his teeth working with Marvel for years. So that just the fact that he's been working. I think he even brought a lot of his kind of friends from Marvel with him to help on the film. That must have been very comforting for you guys.
I think the mask specifically, I think that's where Jacob maybe called in his favor or got that Marvel touch in there. And I think it's awesome. It's unique. It speaks for itself, you know, the design, everything. And, you know, interestingly enough, I'm not sure if you're aware, it's Jacob's first film he directed. I think you are, but you know, You never know. But I think you never know what to expect with a first-time director. I don't know about your experiences, Lou. I've had very few experiences where I've worked with, you know, first-time directors, and one thing that I want to commend Jacob for is bringing us together, allowing us to have creative freedom. And again, I think that's something that's, I don't want to say difficult. I'm not a first-time director, but I know that you have a vision and it's hard to get away from it. At least that's the advice I've been given. And Jacob really, I could speak for him. He found a way to make all of us happy and also make sure his vision played out the way he had envisioned it in his brain. So I'm grateful for that. And I hope people resonate with the film and his style. And I hope we can all look back on this and our careers are prosperous and know that we have this beautiful keystone and memory that we can cherish forever. As cliche as that sounds, you know, that's how I felt about filming this movie. It was very special, and it'll always live on for me. I hope it does for other people too.
I mean, Zach, you see, I mean, you mentioned that you'd love to have lived in the 80s with Lou and myself as well, which was like a fantastic time. But at the same time, Jacob, I mean, in the actual press release, he said that he really wanted to create like a multi-generational, not just a horror film, but a multi-generational film as a whole, no? Can you explain a little bit how he approached that with you, and how you brought, I mean, Lou, you brought your kind of, not veteran, but you kind of, you're from like the 80s, and Zach, you're kind of more recent. How you kind of brought your experience with horror movies and this kind of film to,
Lou, let's
to
just see in your bio. Just your bio should be I'm from the 80s.
Yeah, yeah.
80s kid.
From the 80s.
We need an 80s guy. It's between Zach and Lou. He's got the look. But Lou, if you want to piggyback on anything I'm saying at all, feel free to. I think that obviously with the social media aspect and the EDM, it is very generational. And I think that the one thing that makes this universal, because I know my parents, they don't know what the heck EDM is. Social media isn't even something they understand. So what's going to bring people like them in, and even a younger generation that probably doesn't even understand EDM, as weird as that sounds, because things are always changing, is going to be that slasher aspect. It's going to be the horror, the depth of the characters, you know, what Lou brings, what the rest of the cast brings. And I think that when casting a film like this, it can go both ways. You know, you can cast a bunch of people that know the horror genre. This was my first horror film. I don't know about you, Lou, but I think, I don't want to say that's a risk in itself, but I like to think it played off. And I think, again, as long as the film can touch those aspects, which I think it did, in my personal opinion, it's, you know, about bringing in all these different people through different elements, because obviously, like I was saying, some generations won't relate to the social media, the dating, but we can all agree on maybe a fun party, a killer, you know, what type of genre do we like to watch? And that's what's going to bring in everyone, I like to think.
Mm-hmm. And you know, in the world of EDM, like, it has to start somewhere that's really believable. Like, if you've ever been to an EDM situation, a concert, it's dark, the lights. I mean, a lot of things could happen, and people, you know, in the movies where something happens and nobody notices and things just go on. It's not coming to me which film I'm thinking of, but this is it's set in a world where this could very well be the case. I mean, the lights go off, the lights are flashing, loud music, dark corners. So it starts there with a bunch of people that don't really know what's going on, because these situations are just so chaotic in and of themselves, because it's loud music, it's thumping. But I mean, and to touch back to Jacob, I did a film like about 6 months later, where it was my first lead. I was excited, and I just, as a testament to his character and his work ethic, he was there on set, and I was like, "Hey, what are you doing here? I thought you're this like big director. You know, you're supposed to be like this cocky young director that, like, you know, why wouldn't you be? It's a great film you did." And he was posting as a set deck, and he was behind the scenes, and he acquiesced his say as his creative right into this thing, just to work hard. And I'm like, this is going to be really good, this Dreamcatcher, because it's backed by a guy who doesn't buy into the labels. He doesn't think that, oh, he's a director, he needs to do this, which oftentimes I think younger directors or inexperienced directors want to get caught up in the idea that they're changing film history. They're doing something that hasn't been done before. I mean, you see the flashers where it's like, oh, let's run to the graveyard. Oh, why are we in a cemetery? We're doing this. Oh, we're having a seance. It's like a lot of that stuff is always played out. And it's like, for me, it gets just a little corny. But in this film, I didn't know who was doing it until the end of the film as a reader. And so that's when I read the script, and I was like, this is awesome. I'm like, I have an opportunity to work on this project. I worked one day, but I was just like, I was thrilled that this guy wrote this picture. He directed this picture. And also, I mean, I auditioned for a short film for him at Marvel years ago. So this guy's been doing big things on the low, but he's, and now this is the first chance to really show the world his talents and what he can do in this medium.
I love the fact that you said that, because I mean, a lot of horror films, they kind of work around a gimmick. It's just like you said, Lou. Mm-hmm. And this doesn't. I mean, it's a fun film set in the world of music, no, but at the same time, it does deal with really kind of deep topics. I mean, like suicide, depression, One thing I specifically wanted to ask you about, obviously, I mean, you're both actors, you're both in the limelight. This talks a lot about being scrutinized and dissected on display 24/7, no? Especially kind of one of the lead characters. Was that something that you could really relate to, or was that something that you prefer to keep away from social media too much? Because I mean, it's like one of the phrases in the film was one misplaced tweet and you're at the bottom. It's like Gina Carano just recently, obviously, she one tweet and that's it. She's out of the Mandalorian. You know, do you feel that kind of pressure as an actor?
Myself, absolutely. I mean, I've always been in the realm. I mean, my father was this world famous celebrity that everybody knew, and like wherever we went, everyone knew my father. And aside from that, he was larger than life. So in any room we went into, regardless of the size of the room, he was the center of attention. People could not look at him.
Yeah.
So as an actor, you're really afforded the chance to capture people's attention by the nature of your duty. But if you're good at what you do, people will. I mean, you could hear a pin drop when things happen on set, and that's really a powerful thing. But being that my father had the same name as my father, and my father is just a monster of a man, I've always thought that nobody really cares too much about what I think and I have to say. So I've been always very reluctant to share my opinions on social media because it sounds on your phone, it's like you're just tweeting, you're typing on this app as you typing on a text, but it's broadcast to the entire world essentially. And I think about it like that in the scope of things, and it's daunting how powerful and how widespread you can disseminate a message to the world. So I've always refrained from just saying anything political because I like my art to stand for myself or for itself. And if you're really, I mean, if my opinion really doesn't matter in the terms of trying to be the best actor I can be and trying to tell a story in the best way that I can. But yeah, I mean, when I see some of these people say these tweets, whatever they may be, I'm like, did you not think that this is going to possibly have some repercussions?
Yeah.
And like, I don't think a lot of people agree with me on many things. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm not going to pick fights with, like, I'll gladly have a discussion with anyone about anything and listen and everything. But like, it's like you're fighting behind these imaginary walls with possibly these imaginary people. So it's like, what's real, what's not, so I've always been I've really been hesitant to really just like share anything for the fear of having somebody misinterpret it.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Zach.
Lou, I think it beautifully said. I think it's, it's the way you experienced that realm is, I think it's the same thing, just a different situation. I obviously, I don't know, I've been an actor since I was 8, and I got a lot of recognition at the age of 11, 11, 12, 13. It was, wow. It was a lot. And I think it's terrible. They always say child actors. And as I've gotten older, I'm grateful that I've had my parents, because I like to say I turned out seemingly normal because of that and having that foundation. But if you don't have that, exactly, you're, especially in the time of social media, you have no one to tell you what to do, what's right, what's wrong. And so you're where you do make mistakes, where everyone makes mistakes. It's, it's a weird thing for kids growing up now, because your words do carry weight. And I always like to say that, like, at the end of the day, we all deal with what we deal with. My own personal preference, I'm an actor, I'm an artist. I've never been good with politics. So I like to keep it that way. And I think we all have our own unique purposes on this earth and this planet. And I like to dive into the thing that I know is what I feel is what my mission and what my destiny is. Some people feel like it's politics. Some people feel like it's, insert whatever that may be. And, they have that right to do that. Granted, I, have the right to choose what mine is as well. So I think at the end of the day, it's like, seeing, Lou, for, what you went through, and obviously me as a kid, what I went through, it's you only find perspective as you get older. So I think just moving through life with the idea, I've never, when it comes to social media, I like to keep everything private. My relationships, you know, like the issues that I have. Some people thrive off of sharing that, and you know, that to each their own, you know. But for me personally, it's just never done anything for me. So you know, if it does, maybe I'll cross that bridge one day when I get to it. But you know, for now, I think Lou, you touched on it perfectly, and you know,
I alley-ooped it, you slam dunked it. Bravo, Zach.
and
Bravo.
together the championship ring goes to
Ah.
the 80s team.
Why do you think I always wear a mask?
Obviously, things are crazy now because of lockdown. But can you tell me about what you've got coming next? Anything that you can share with us?
I just got back from Atlanta. I was shooting season 2 of Stargirl, which is really cool. I play a character called Our Man, like a bona fide DC superhero. It's going to be really cool. You know, there was a break from set, and I had to use the restroom, and they're like, "All right, well, you got to," which is a fiasco, going to the restroom in this skin tight 3-layered suit. You know, I gotta do a lot of digging. I gotta shift some fake muscles around. But then, so then I was looking at myself, and I was just like, this is crazy. I'm like, I have these like gloves and the suit, and he's like the ultimate superhero in the sense of his wardrobe, because he's got the mask, the cape, the boots, the gloves. And I was like, well, I need to do something right now. So I FaceTimed my sister. It was like 7 a.m. here. So she gets a call, and I took a screenshot of it, but she's getting a screenshot not from like somebody dressed up as Our Man, but like essentially this is Our Man calling you, waking you up. It was had a good time with that. And then just working on SWAT season 4, which has been work. So yeah, I got some good stuff coming up, and you know, I'm just excited. I've been preoccupied with this Dreamcatcher release because I am excited to see it, and I really hope that it people like it. I think it's just a sexy film. It's got a lot of really key parts to it that people are drawn to in that genre, and I'm just excited to see Zach shine like just he is the star he is, and he's just from day one. Zach has just been such a delight, and so I just love to see good things happen to good people. And like I was on one day, and I still remember just we were allowed to play. We were allowed to do things that we wouldn't necessarily do. You know, on SWAT, it's like, it's the gun, not a gun. And I was like, okay, so every word. Whereas this film just allowed us to be open and free. So I'm just really excited to see it.
What about you, Zach?
Yeah, Lou, thank you for that. I really, really appreciate that. I mean, you know how it is. You know, we're all in this together, and you know, no one project is bigger than any of us. So I really appreciate that. I think, again, that's just being lucky and working with, you know, Jacob obviously did a great job when he picked me. And well,
You did.
Geez. I mean, come on, Zach. I think just, you know, I'm lucky to have been on this project and, you know, going back to, you know, what it's really about, guys. But yeah, seriously, I mean, again, it's fate. It's like being at the right place at the right time, and you're lucky if you get the opportunity, let alone working with people that also realize that and appreciating that. And yeah, it was obviously, you know, not to touch again on, you know, what Lou was saying, but the experience was just great, and Jacob is such an eye, and he's such a treat. In terms of work, I think it's a weird time for everyone. Lou, it actually really makes me happy to hear that you're working, and like I a lot of my friends are working, which is great. Segue into, you know, I had a few projects that were supposed to go. And unfortunately, when you do independent films, sometimes with regulations and budgeting for what's going on now, you can't afford to add 10-20% to your budget on top of the risk of losing it all. So, you know, it's a shame. It just keeps getting pushed back. And, you know, in the meantime, I'm writing, I'm playing music. I have a film that was supposed to be at South by Southwest last year. And obviously that was canceled, unfortunately, but it got in again this year. It's Violet.
That's right, Violet. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Directed by Justine Bateman. It's with Olivia Munn, Justin Theroux, really incredible artists. And like, I'm so grateful to be a part of that. So we're having a talk in a few weeks at South by, and then, you know, obviously Dreamcatcher. And I had a film, American Pie, another one, yes, which was such an amazing experience. It's on Netflix now. Go check it out. That was a treat too. Sorry?
Which one is it?
American Pie. It's called Girls Rules. It's like the first movie, but it's girls. It's the first movie, but girls. Do it. So yeah, I think I've been fortunate enough. Granted, during this time where, I'm glad to hear friends are working, some friends are struggling, and obviously a lot of us are struggling in our own ways.
Yeah.
So I think, again, it's important to just, for anyone listening out there, stay busy. I'm writing, I'm making music, I'm recording this weekend. And, obviously, we're all more than, just one specific thing. And that's a beautiful thing to learn as I get older as well. So, yeah. And thanks for the opportunity, obviously, to talk and see Lou and you. So thank you, Howard, too.
No, thank you. It's been really good to speak to you. I really appreciate your time, especially in these difficult times that you've got to do as best you can. So best of luck with the film next week. I'm sure it's going to go on really well. I loved it. And I hope to speak to you sometime in the future.
Thanks, Howard.
All right, thanks so much. Take care, Lou. Take care, Zach. Take care.